Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Fed Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is January 8th, 2024, and today is Monday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, the market's really wavering. And this is on the back of last week's FOMC rate statement and NFP results from last week. And really, there were no surprises. So the markets are just consolidating at these levels. Now, there's no major economic events scheduled for today, but as we move along the week, we have some major events coming up, including some corporate earning reports from a major banks from the United States. Now, looking at the market, starting out with the Forex symbols, most of the major pairs are really unchanged, while the Turkish Lira, new Monday, new low. And that seems to be just the sequence for it. Now, looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ unchanged. Looking at gold, it did taper lower, while oil remains unchanged. And looking at the stocks, Bank of America actually looking very strong on the top of its range. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin remains unchanged. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So what does an unchanged look like? Voila, this is it, okay? We're trading a 109.44 in a 10-pip move. Really, no big deal. Looking at the Turkish Lira, once again, week to week, new lows, okay? We're trading at 29.83. Now, it's not a big deal because last week we were trading at 29.78, 75. So it's not a big pips that we're just tremendously growing, but it's continuously making new lows. And we're getting closer to that 30 level, which is really important. Now, jumping into commodities, gold really just sliding just a little bit to 20.31. Nothing really big to write home about, but it did slide. Looking at crude oil, remaining unchanged at $72 a barrel, excuse me. And now looking at the U.S. markets, okay, jumping into that. Dow Jones tapering off its highs. Still not a big deal, about 600 points from its all-time highs, but it did taper off, okay? So this is something to consider. However, the stocks are still strong. Looking at the NASDAQ, though, did taper off as well, and it's still there. Now, looking at Bank of America, I want to take a look at this. It's close to its all-time highs for the year. Not all-time highs, but also close to its highs for the year, above that 200-day moving average. So this is really where it gets very important. Now, the other major bank that's coming out with earnings this Friday, JP Morgan, the behemoth. This is the biggest bank in the world, okay? Over trillions of dollars of worth around the world. So this is really a very important bank that's going to come out. Remember last year around this time, Silicon Valley Bank went bust, but that was like a small bank. It doesn't even come up to the radar compared to JP Morgan. Okay, so that's why it's very important when JP Morgan actually comes out with their earning reports. Now, looking at what's really weak, Apple completely changed its character, and we are getting closer to that 200-day moving average, which is becoming very important. Now, NVIDIA did bounce last week, so it's really important to note that, and it's back to its close to its all-time highs, 490. Okay, all-time highs is 511-ish level, and sure enough, we're inching closer to that. It's a $490 stock. For it to go 20 points is no big deal. So the stocks are relatively still strong. The question is whether or not they're going to continue, or are we going to see a sell-off, okay? Because we are entering election time, so this is really important as well. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin. Bitcoin also remaining unchanged, consolidating at this area, but it is creating somewhat of a wedge formation once again. And that's sure enough to give us like some sort of a spike either up or down as we've been accustomed to see with Bitcoin. This is Fed Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.